live from our studios in Kingstown, St. Vincent, and the Grenadines. It's your favorite Thursday night show, Up Late with Sehon Marshall. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome the host of tonight's show, Sehon Marshall.
Good night, and welcome to this edition of Up Late with Sehon Marshall. Listen, it is going to be explosive. So grab your popcorn. I know almost 40% of you guys watch this show from your television screens. So listen, sit back and get ready for an exciting, explosive edition tonight, Up Late with Sehon Marshall. I'm your host, Sehon Marshall. Thank you so much for joining. Now, as always, and I always fumble this part, but allow me to fumble it again anyway. I always encourage you to share the live. So you go to YouTube, you're already on YouTube, you click share, and when you click share, you would get the option to either share it directly to one of your platforms, whether it's WhatsApp or Facebook or where have you, or you can use the other option of copying the link. And that's the one I do. I copy the link. So I am going to share, I'm going to copy link, right? And my link is copied. And now I'm going to do the ritual where I'm sending it to Facebook and I'm sending it to, where are we now? Facebook. Where we go? Okay, so let's go. So now I'm on Facebook and I'm sharing the link. So I'm giving you some time as well to do the same thing. My partner said to me, Sehon, listen to me, man. You need to be able to get somebody to do that for you. We're getting there. Don't worry. So I'm sharing my link on Facebook, both on the page Up Late with Sehon Marshall, as well as on my own personal page. All right. So let's do that. That's done on the Up Late with Sehon Marshall page, and then from there I will share that on my personal page so that individuals are able to see it. So I'll share it now on my personal page. Where are we now? And then you guys are sharing as well, and at the same time the live build up, so I get an idea as to who all is on the live. All right, so let me share this. And that is shared. Now time for WhatsApp. Go into WhatsApp as well. Guys, share it on WhatsApp too. Come on. Sharing now on WhatsApp. And I think now I'm done. Right. So I'm done all the sharing. And we should be okay. Right. Good. So let me welcome everybody to the program this evening. And let me get a few things out of the way, a few housekeeping matters out of the way as part of my welcome. All right. Now, I want to thank everybody for their support. Just this week, we surpassed 4,000 watch hours, or is it 3,000 watch hours on YouTube, which made us eligible for monetization. That couldn't happen without your support. So I thank you so much for your support. Those of you who log on and you stay on and you watch the program, I really appreciate that. We couldn't have done that without you. Our community continues to grow. We now have in excess of 1,200 subscribers. Let's keep pushing that up some more and see how far we can grow. And I noticed that our last show, it keeps expanding. So, of course, we have a big support from St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The majority of the viewers are viewing from St. Vincent and the Grenadines, but there's also the USA, there's Canada, there's the UK, there's Barbados, there's Trinidad, there's Jamaica, there's Grenada. I saw South Africa in the stats. I saw India in the stats. I guess some of my colleagues from Asia who went to law school with me are looking at the program every now and again. So thank you so much for the support. But the regular ones, the ones who are on every single Thursday night without a beat, thank you so much for your support. Keep supporting the program. Keep pushing the program. And together we grow. Up Late is us. This is our special community and family. Let's engage more people and bring them in as part of the Upplate family who would watch our program every single Thursday night. All right. So thank you for the support. As I said, the channel is now ready to be optimized. And trust me, this only happened within the last 4 weeks, eh? Only last 4 weeks when we started to put the program on YouTube exclusively. We went from very little watch hours, a couple hundreds, and in no time we surpassed 3,000 watch hours. And think about it, the program is only aired once per week. So it really means that you guys are supporting this program, and I thank you so much. Now, for those of you who haven't seen it yet, I started a midday reflection. When I say midday, I don't exactly mean 12 o'clock, but anytime between 12 and 2, I do a short video, only about 3 minutes long, and I post it on my Facebook page, but I've also started posting it on the Upplate YouTube page as well. I call it Present Please. And you guys got the idea as to why I call it Present Please. People who support the NDP thought I was too bright, talking too much, and they called me to the front of the line because they think the government need to get me off of the boards. They kind of late, though. They kind of late. So, hey, I answered the call. As a good student, the teacher called it to the front of the class, Present Please. And so Present Please is the new 3 minute reflection I do, commentary I do during the midday, Monday to Friday. So look out for that. It is gaining real steam. The one I did today already has close to 7,000 views. And that's just from midday. All right. So people are watching, and hopefully the engagement continues. All right. Now, two things that sadden me right now. I was informed recently that the former member of Foreign Affairs, he was also the former minister of social national mobilization. He was the MP for South Windward, Augusta Stevenson, took ill and is currently in ICU. I wish him well. I hope he recovers. I know prayers are going up for Gustus and to his family. I hope they find comfort in this difficult time. As a young man like Gustus falls terribly ill and finds himself in the ICU. I know we have some excellent professionals at the Milton Keaton Memorial Hospital and throughout St. Vincent and the Grenadines in our health system, despite what you heard previously. And I know Gustus will be given the best care at the MCMH. So I really wish him well and a speedy recovery. The thing is, from what I've been told, I can't confirm, the recovery may take some time because they may involve different elements to his recovery, but I really hope that he recovers and he is welcomed back home by his family. And finally, the saddest news of all, I woke up last Saturday morning to the news and images on social media that my good friend, my buddy from school and all through, the guy who introduced me to VFM Morning program and all those things, Donnie Collins, had lost his son through senseless gun violence. I've met Donnie, I've spoken to Donnie, but I just wanted to do this publicly on this program, sending condolences to my really, really good friend, Donnie Collins, as he mourns the loss of his son, a young man, just about to be 23 years old. And you know something? It appears from all reports that the three individuals who were shot during that altercation, during that bit of reckless violence, were less than 23 years old, or just about 23 years old, all young men. We have to really look at what is happening to our young men and the violence that is meted out by and against our young men in our society, and something has to be done. I am not going down the road that the other people used to do when their party was in opposition and blame it on the government and the prime minister. No, I am more sensible than that. And I recognize that crime, I've always agreed with Dr. Gonzalez when he was Prime Minister, now he's opposition leader, that crime is multifaceted and it requires a multifaceted approach. It's about poverty, it's about government. And I'm going to maintain that. I ain't going to blame Friday, I ain't going to blame Leacock. I know that there are issues, and I ain't going to say the police useless either, because I know the police doing their job, right? So I'm going to address it in the same consistent way I addressed it. That's me. All right, so let's get into the business. Let me get into the real business of the matter, right? Let me get into the business of the matter because we have lots of things to talk about tonight. What happening with the bonus? During the elections campaign of 2025, the NDP, the New Democratic Party, campaigning to be elected as government in this country, promised Vincentians, promised public servants, promised everybody a bonus. They made a number of promises. At best, according to Bramble, they should have gotten the bonus by December. At worst, the bonus should come in 60 days. But a bonus was promised. Since the elections are over, we have heard all types of concoctions and twisting and turning as to what was promised and what should be expected. The truth is that Vincentians were warned that it was not practical. It was not practicable. It couldn't work. The Prime Minister at the time, Dr. Gonzalez, during the elections, had gone ahead and given what he called the COLA, cost of living allowance, which amounted to about 9-10% of your salary. He gave you 3% over 3 months. And he told you would get that, you got that. There were increases in different stipends, there were increases in public assistance, there were increases for the SET program, there were all sorts of manageable increases. You see, the thing about it is this, when you're in government, you're governed. And you know what the books say. You know what your expenses are, you know what your revenues are, and you are able to fashion policy based on that. I said during the elections campaign that if a double salary was possible, the government would have given it. Because this government has shown over its time in office that it is the government for the working people. That is why there was a reclassification exercise under this government, and salaries were increased on aggregate by 60-65%. Salaries went up. We know what the type of salaries were when the government got into office, and we know what the salaries are now. So this is the government of the working class. This government has shown leadership. Leadership in terms of the way it dealt with the unions. You have to wait until the unions strike and so forth. They call the unions in for discussion and they tell you how much they could offer. Real, pragmatic governance. But during the campaign, the NDP thought, listen, we need to come up with some gimmicks. We've been in the opposition for 25 years. And if we do not come up with some gimmicks to bamboozle Vincentians, we may be in opposition for another 5 years. And one of the things promised, and in my view, overpromised, was a double salary. Now, I want you to hear what Dr. Friday had to say about the bonus that he intended to pay once they won. Listen to this.
All the public servants, we will pay year-round bonuses to those persons, and not for them only. For all the people who are on public assistance, they will also have bonuses. It's not rocket science, folks. Don't tell me we can't do it. Because they're doing it in St. Kitts. They're doing it in Dominica.
It is not rocket science, he says. They are doing it in St. Kitts. You heard that, right? He invoked a specific country when he talked about a salary bonus. The country he invoked, the name of the country he invoked is St. Kitts, the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. He said, we will give you year-round salary bonuses. And it's not rocket science because something like this is done in St. Kitts. It's being done. So don't tell me it's impossible. Don't tell me it can't be done, because it's being done in St. Kitts. But to re-emphasize and make it even clearer, at a meeting with the unions, the president of the union also re-emphasized and reinforced the promise and the claim of a double salary as a bonus by the government. Remember, Mr. Boucher, my good friend, as president of the Public Workers Union, he sat next to Dr. Friday and told the workers, you know what? I ain't going to tell you what he told them. I'm going to let you hear for yourself what he told them, and you will determine for yourself. Because I ain't going to say, I don't want nobody to say I put words in Boucher's mouth. So this is what Boucher told the members of the union when he endorsed the NDP as the party of preference for Vincentians and for public workers. Listen to Mr. Boucher.
I forgot that I had to mention to our hard-working public servants, right, that we often hear St. Kitts getting a double bubble, and they often ask, what about us? So it's historical. It's going to be the first time that St. Vincent and the Grenadines public servants will ever be receiving a double bubble for Christmas. First time. So you know, it is a reality. And we have to also make that a reality. Okay? Never happened before, and we can brag like St. Kitts now. And those other countries where the governments have done. You can't compare that with 3%. And for those workers, especially those at the very bottom getting $30, consider $30 versus $1,000+. The maths is really simple. So let's get this done.
Thank you.
St. Kitts again is the name Mr. Boucher invoked. He said he's doing it in St. Kitts. It's the first time we're going to it here. He said it's a reality, and let's make it a reality. He was campaigning for the NDP and asking the members of the Public Service Union to vote for the NDP because they would get a double bubble like in St. Kitts. He said those at the very bottom are getting $30. No. 3% over 3 months. So 3 months salary, 3%. Now, I don't know if anybody in the service making $1,000. Except you're on one of those training programs, programs, but there's no established worker, none. There is no established worker in government making $1,000 a month, none. I could say that without fear of contradiction. There is no established worker in the public service who Boucher was talking to that's making $1,000. So let's say that this person is making $1,500. Over 3 months, that's $4,500. Right? I guess that's the one he's talking about. Because if they're making $1,500, that's 4,500, right? 3% of that is $100 and something, $91.35. So I know who was making $30. I don't know who was getting $30. The public servant, the admin up to making $4,000 a month. That's 12 grand over the 3 months. 3%. That's 120 by 3. That's $360. That is what you're getting. That's a COLA. The government didn't promise you a double bubble. Now, after the elections, you heard people like Lavo and King and all the others say, no. We didn't promise you a double bubble, a double salary. We promised you a bonus payment. Well, that's not true. The document, the poster that they had said a bonus salary. Not a bonus on salary, but a bonus salary. But just for clarification, you might say, man, listen, they did not mean double salary. Well, if you remember, Godwin Friday, the Prime Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, as leader of the NDP while campaigning, invoked which country? St. Kitts. He said they are doing it in St. Kitts. He says it's not rocket science. They're doing it in St. Kitts. And in the presence of Dr. Friday as leader of the opposition, Boucher, speaking to public servants, again says, listen, for the first time in the history of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, we're going to get a double bubble. Just like where? Like St. Kitts. Well, I want you to listen to what a double bubble or a bonus salary in St. Kitts is. Let's hear how St. Kitts does it. Because remember, both Friday and Boucher said just like St. Kitts. So let's hear from the St. Kitts PM how they do how they do bonuses in St. Kitts.
I am pleased to announce, Madam Speaker, that an extra payment of 1 month's salary, commonly called the double salary. This additional payment will apply to our civil servants, to our government auxiliary employees, our pensioners, our workers on our STEP program. And I would like to say, Madam Speaker, that this payment will be issued on Friday, 19th December 2025. Madam Speaker,
Oh, stop the video. Stop the video.
I will come to the...
Stop the video for me, please. Did you hear what the Prime Minister of St. Kitts said? In case you missed it, I'm going to ask my director to play it again to hear what St. Kitts does, to hear what Boucher told public servants we would have for the first time in St. Vincent and the Grenadines like in St. Kitts. I want you to hear what the Prime Minister of St. Kitts says would be done, which is what Dr. Friday said he would give once the NDP wins because they do it in St. Kitts. Let's hear it again. I'm not going to play the whole video. I want you to hear what the Prime Minister says, how they do it in St. Kitts. Because remember, Boucher and the Honorable Prime Minister Friday says, we're going to give you, the public servants, what St. Kitts gets. So let's hear it again from the St. Kitts Prime Minister.
I am pleased to announce, Madam Speaker, that an extra payment of 1 month's salary, commonly called the double salary. This additional payment will apply to our civil servants, to our government auxiliary employees, our pensioners, our workers on our STEP program. And I would like to say, Madam Speaker, that this payment will be issued on Friday, 19th December 2025.
Thank you very much. So in St. Kitts, what they get is an extra month salary, a double salary, a double bubble, a bonus. That is what Friday promised public servants. That is what Boucher told public servants they will get. That is what Fitzbramble on the platform said, that by December, even the janitor would get it. But now, I hear the auditioning Prime Minister, because our Prime Minister is silent, he's been hidden. Every time he opens his mouth, he concocts a word salad that is indecipherable, and so people mock it. And what do you have? You have instructions being sent to the API to take down videos so they could hide. And so, right now, we have someone else speaking on behalf of the Prime Minister. So he was on Boom this week, the Prime Minister auditioning. You know, there's a America's Next Best, you know, The Voice and America's Talent and them thing there. Yeah. So what we have now is St. Vincent auditioning Prime Minister. Maybe they want one, so they auditioning. I saw Fat Boy, straight talk. Straight talk. I love you. Your clips, I watch them every single day. You gave him a trophy, the leader cousin trophy. Anyhow, I agree. Let me not get distracted. Let me keep going on. So on Boom on Wednesday, in trying to spin the situation and sway public opinion, because what we have in so far is incompetence, absolute, utter incompetence. But in order to sway public opinion, the auditioning Prime Minister, the Prime Minister in audition, went on Boom and had this to say. I want you to listen what we are being told now that they're in government.
Who would find that the bonus that they will receive will be greater than their salary. And there will be some people who will find that the bonus that they receive will be less than the salary. In other words, you can't have a bonus scheme in which the
So the first thing the Prime Minister in audition is telling you is that you're not getting a double salary. So that's the first thing. So forget the idea of a double salary. He says some may find that the bonus they get is more than the salary, mostly the $30 people on them. And others may find that the bonus they get is less than their salary. But let's continue with the word salad and let's see if it makes sense. I like the term that I stole that term from Straight Talk. Let's continue with the Prime Minister in audition. Let's continue his interview and hear what he had to say.
Who would find that the bonus that they will receive will be greater than their salary. And there will be some people who will find that the bonus that they receive will be less than the salary. In other words, you can't have a bonus scheme in which the inequality in the system is perpetuated. So that a person who is at $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 salary gets a double salary.
And somebody
and
making
a person who making
$1,000.
It's not the same.
Yeah, I agree.
So if we find a good, and I don't want to use a midpoint, mean that it's exactly the midway, but if we find a point at which the bonus is rewarding and motivating, then that's a good fit. And that's the one thing you're going to find coming out in the bonus. That people are going to be happy in the additional money that goes to the pocket. But you're saying that and missing the point. Why are we paying a bonus? We are paying a bonus because in principle, we are of the view that the salary levels in St. Vincent and the Grenadines are too low. That's the first plank. Secondly, when people get monies,
I can't talk about this. I can't talk about this. I thought I would be able to suffer through the gibberish, but I can't. I really can't. I thought I would have been able to suffer through the gibberish, but I really can't make it. So let's dissect the gibberish that we just heard. Some may find that the bonus is more than the salary. And others may find that the bonus is less than the salary. But I ain't fair, you see, because you cannot pay a bonus system that perpetuates the inequity or the inequality. Can't remember which word you use. I wrote down one. Inequality we use. You cannot, he said, you cannot use a bonus system that perpetuates the inequality. But clearly, you could promise a bonus system that perpetuates the inequality. You could promise a bonus system that you know perpetuates the inequality, but when time comes to pay it, you can't pay it. And I'm listening to people like Stephen Joachim and them in the interview, agreeing. Must the company has a bonus system? I wonder if Stephen and all the employees get the same. When the same Sinclair Leacock was at Vinlec and they paid bonus, and he was head of HR, was the bonus system then perpetuating the inequality in Vinlec? Listen, It is vexing. Let me calm down. Let me calm down. Sinclair and those like him think people are stupid. So all of a sudden, the time has come for you to pay the bonus, and you can't pay it because it perpetuates inequality. But you promised it. And you at Vinlec when they did bonuses, and I'm sure the bonuses went based on your grade and your rank. But it didn't perpetuate inequality. No, because you've been high up and you became a big bonus. I am sure at the Musty Company Limited, where bonuses are paid, I am sure Stephen Joachim gets a nice fat check for his bonus. But apparently, in inequality in the Musty Company is fine, and in Vinlec is fine, and other places is fine. But to honor your promise to Vincentians, you're coming up with some foolishness about you can't pay a bonus that perpetuates inequality. I thought a bonus was about effort and all that kind of thing. So the man who gets paid more, he has a certain level of responsibility. He works hard. And if you promise the man a bonus, a double salary, give him the double salary. It's the same way. When you give a 5% increase, the man at the top get more money than the man at the bottom. So what are you telling me? We're not supposed to give a 5% increase across the board, because if you give a 5%, where some would get more based on their salary, that perpetuates the inequality. So from now on, I don't expect the New Democratic Party to give a percentage increase. I expect to give them a flat increase. So listen, public servants, from now on, understand this. The NDP is going to give a flat salary increase. They're getting $700 in their salary. Take it or leave it. Those at the bottom, it might be double their salary, but those at the top, it might be less. Because we can't perpetuate the inequality by giving the man at the top more and giving the man at the bottom less. Listen, these people think we are stupid. And this is what is passing for government in Vincent Gradines. But I like the fact now that the radio stations are now cheerleaders. I agree. Oh, absolutely. Oh, absolutely. Yes, I agree. Oh, yes. They are at the feet of Mr. Leacock. I like it. I like it a lot, says Problem Child. Can I pour some coffee? Let me pour some coffee, please. And yes, it's really coffee. It's nothing. So Tammy, if you're watching, don't think it's anything else but coffee. It's coffee. It's coffee. Now somebody, Alwyn says, every single Vincent might be more grateful for the extra 2,000. Oh, it's 2,000? Well, boy, if it's 2,000, I am sure they'd be grateful. I am sure they would be grateful. I am sure. So Alwyn knows, Alwyn Pear knows that it's 2,000 they're getting. So listen, Alwyn, if every Vincentian got $2,000, I'll be happy for them, and I'm sure they'll be happy for themselves. So Vincentians, it's $2,000. All right. But I tell you this, that's what you promise people. And you could come back as a government and say, listen, we overpromised, but we could work out something and give you a bonus. Don't try and spin it because you think people are stupid. Because we're not stupid. There was an education revolution that informed us, that educated us, that assisted us in our ability to think critically. And so the days when that type of gibberish could have passed for an explanation are long gone. And so yes, if you give, listen, if you gave every Vincentian worker $2,000, congratulations. I would applaud you. I would applaud you. So if it's $2,000, I'm sure people watching now, public servants are watching now and say, what, it's $2,000 we get next week? Listen, they could start to get the list organized for what they're going to do with the extra $2,000, because that's a lot of money. And I could imagine the junior clerk and so on, who making a little $1,500 and so on, they get $2,000. Listen, I'd be happy for them. And you're right, Alwyn, they'd be happy for themselves. I am not disagreeing with you at all. At all. But I will tell you this. I will tell you this. if Vincentians get less than the 3% that they got last November, let me take a sip of my coffee. If Vincentian public servants get less than the 3% than they get in November, anyhow. So let me see. Tell us what's going on with the bonus. Don't fool me. Don't try and bamboozle me. Just tell us. Be open with us. Be upfront with us. Yeah? And just tell us. You know, what we had under the previous government was a prime minister and other ministers who spoke and a people who disbelieved every word they said. Today, we have a government that doesn't say anything. And apparently, we're supposed to believe everything. Bonus time coming in now. It's soon. It's next week. So I'm waiting. I'm moving on because it's 3 things I want to do with tonight. 3 things I want to do with tonight. 3 things I want to do with tonight. The second thing I want to deal with, because listen, our government is absent now. Vincentians, we government absent. And I could understand why supporters of the NDP kept calling Labour people to the front. Come to the front, come to the front, because they want leadership. I have never seen anybody give up the front. If it's in the front of a vehicle, I've never seen anybody give up the front seat. I've never seen anybody in a race and give up the front and say, come, pass it back, go on. But, alas, supporters of the NDP, and there's some noticeable ones, are calling Labour people to the front. Come to the front, because they want leadership. So let we lead. And that is why Dr. Gonzalez, as opposition leader, has been leading the charge on a number of issues, because our government has no clue. And that's just the reality. And I want to show you what I'm talking about, because I want to talk about the issue of the accepting of refugees. The Minister of National Security was asked about that. Will we be accepting refugees? Now, we've been hearing a lot about this. We've heard from the Prime Minister of Dominica on the issue. We've heard from the Prime Minister of St. Kitts on the issue. We've heard from the Prime Minister of Antigua on the issue. We've seen a statement from the Ambassador of Antigua to the OAS. We've not heard from our Prime Minister yet. And people are worried. People are anxious. What is happening? Have they made a request to us? Have they? What is the status of the request? Are we in negotiations? Are we talking with them? When I say refugees, what do you mean? What nationality? I mean, who exactly are we talking about here? How many? What arrangements are being made? Are they offering us any compensation as a result for taking them? There are many questions we want to ask. Because you are only hearing peace, America or other countries take refugees. And they come to the OECS countries. We didn't even know they came to St. Vincent and the Grenadines until we heard from the Prime Minister of St. Kitts that all of the countries in the OECS were approached. We didn't know that. Well, I didn't know that. Maybe somebody else did. And we have not heard a single word from our Prime Minister. Not a word. But, fear not, because the Prime Minister in audition is here. Ta-da-da-da-da! He is here. He will answer every question that the selected appointed Prime Minister is ducking because he is auditioning for the job. So he was asked directly. And let's hear his response to Ben Joseph on Boom when asked about the refugee situation.
We have heard that St. Vincent will move into the position of having to take immigrants, right? Is that correct or is that fake news? Let me get it from you, the Minister of National Security. Will we be taking
Illegal immigrants from the United
immigrants from the United States?
The cooperative position of the OECS is the one that St. Vincent and the Grenadines will follow.
Which
Hold
is?
on there.
The cooperative position.
Hold on there. The what? The cooperative position of the OECS. So the OECS has a cooperative position on an issue now? The OECS has a cooperative position on a foreign policy issue? No? It couldn't be CARICOM. So the OECS has a cooperative position. Now note he said, the cooperative position of the OECS is what we are going to follow. We are not bound to follow any position of the OECS. The OECS is in a position that we are bound to follow. The OECS as a bloc can negotiate together. You have the heads, they negotiate, and they come with a position, a common position, a common negotiating position. But ultimately, there are 6 independent sovereign nations that has to make their own decisions. But let's go to the full response from the Prime Minister in audition as he responds to Bing's question.
We have heard that St. Vincent will move into the position of having to take immigrants, right? Is that correct or is that fake news? Let me get it from you, the Minister of National Security. Will we be taking
illegal immigrants from the
United States?
The cooperative position of the OECS is the one that St. Vincent and the Grenadines will follow.
Which is?
The cooperative position that the Prime Minister sit down and disagree and agree, come out with after they have met with the U.S. State Department.
So it's not settled yet?
And that is not settled as yet.
Okay.
Okay, but we must have a position. So going into this discussion, what is our position?
But what will be the position? The position is a rational position. Any person have a sense of self-belief and sovereign state and self-belief would not want somebody to be imposing upon them what on the surface seems to be an unreasonable solution, and therefore you're going to try and negotiate yourself out of that.
Right.
With the eyes wide open and a high degree of realism of who you're coming up with and dealing with against. And that's what it is. That's what we're dealing with. Do you want with one stroke of the pen, having taken a stand today on the immigrant position, which basically is for people who want to live in America, find that tomorrow, those of you who want the right to go to America can't go to the United States of America. And then the same set of people say, y'all have messed up. So I'm taking guidance and direction from my foreign minister and my prime minister on this matter.
He's taking the guidance from the foreign minister and the prime minister on that matter. What I found important is the fact that he trumpeted a cooperative position of the OECS. Listening to that, one would be left with the opinion that there is a single position of the OECS that St. Vincent and Grenadines is following. That there were discussions held in consort, a common position was arrived at, and according to him, we are following that common position, that cooperative position of the OECS. But is there a cooperative position of the OECS? The Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis is going to help me answer that question. Listen to the cooperative position of the OECS as outlined by the Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis. Let's say Prime Minister Drew.
This has negotiated and entered into a memorandum of understanding with the United States of America for the potential transfer of certain third country nationals. And I want us to listen carefully, who are citizens or nationals of the Caribbean community. This does not involve anybody outside of CARICOM. And this is in keeping with our CARICOM principle. And I will further say that because of security matters, it does not include Haiti at this particular time. It does not involve anybody from any other place outside of the CARICOM region. Under the arrangement, the United States may propose transfers of CARICOM nationals. This is what St. Kitts and Nevis has negotiated, without violent or sexual criminal backgrounds. The MOU contemplates jointly develop operational procedures, including capacity-based limits and logistical arrangements. So in St. Kitts and Nevis's negotiations, through our proactive diplomacy, this only contemplates CARICOM citizens. At this time, for security reasons, excluding Haiti.
Did you hear any mention about a cooperative position of the OECS? I don't want to play it again. I want to know what you heard. Did you hear anything from the Prime Minister of St. Kitts about following a cooperative position of the OECS? Or did you hear that St. Kitts and Nevis has negotiated through their proactive diplomacy an MOU specific to St. Kitts and Nevis? I want to make sure that we heard the same things. Because the Prime Minister, in audition of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, comes to citizens after being silent on this matter for days, nothing from the Prime Minister, and he says, we don't have a sovereign independent position. What we are going to do is we're going to follow the collective position of the OECS. So it ain't settled yet, and whatever the position is collectively of the OECS, we will follow that. But another member state of the OECS Prime Minister come out and say, listen, we have proactively negotiated this specific thing, MOU, with the US. No mention about a common position, cooperative position of the OECS. No mention about nothing not being settled. It says the US will propose, that's specific, very specific. The US may propose residents from other CARICOM countries, except Haiti, that are non-violent and non-sexual offenders. So Jeffrey, if they were send Jeffrey, shoot Jeffrey there. Never mind. I mean, there might be other Jeffreys, but let me not get into that. Right? They're telling you specifically what they've negotiated. But we are being told by our people, or government in absentia, or absent government is telling us, listen, nothing is settled yet. And so we waiting for CARICOM and we're waiting on the OECS, and whatever the OECS decides, we go follow that. So we are in a position. I mean, credit to Bing, he goes, but we must have a position. If we're going into negotiations, we as a country must have a position to start from somewhere. Apparently we don't. We don't. So we don't know who we take in, how much we take in, when they come in, what kind of crimes, where we're going to put them, if we have to mind them, if America end up giving anything, we know nothing. Because according to Mr. Leacock, Prime Minister in audition, we are waiting on the cooperative position of the OECS. And then we'll follow that. And hopefully, when that cooperative decision is made known to them go tell we. Listen, we have some rough times ahead, eh? It's early days. But you see, one of the things that I've always said is this. Because we had a government that over 20 years, 25 years handled these things so smoothly and seamlessly without upheaval. Crises after crises, global upheaval after global upheaval. We had a government that with a patience and a calm just handle these things. And life went about in St. Vincent and the Grenadines like nothing happening, because we had a government that was dealing with it and was informing us about how they're dealing with it. Today, we don't know what to do, so we're waiting on the OECS to tell us what to do. And hopefully, when they tell us what to do, we'll follow it. Oh, what a time in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I have one more thing to deal with. Sorry to rush you, but I have to deal with this one more thing here. Because immediately after the elections, I heard the newly elected Prime Minister said that the residence of the Prime Minister was unlivable. Can't live there. Now, with all due respects to Comrade Ralph, if he was a single man, and Friday had made that comment, I might say, well, boy, you know, it's a single man, it's a man thing, so yeah, he wasn't doing too good a job. He was probably, you know, working late and so on, so his place probably wasn't kept very well. But see what you want about Eloise, woman of class. And so the fact that Dr. Gonzalez and his wife lived in that house and hosted people in that house, and Eloise's mom lived there with them, the house was absolutely adequate to house Godwin Friday. So why is Godwin Friday renting a house? And listen to me, I can't confirm it, but I have to say it because I hear it. I am told that the rental for the property is $15,000 every month. $15,000 every month. Now, Dr. Gonzalez tells his story that when he became Prime Minister, there wasn't a library at the residence. And he told them, he ain't moving in there until there's a library. And so you know what he did? He lived in his own house in French's until the library was done. And he tells his story. He says, listen, I could have collected almost about $66,000 a month for rent in lieu. And $6,000 a month over a year, for those of you who know maths, me ain't so good, is $72,000. But he didn't collect any money. He lived there. When the library was done, he moved in. Not Godwin. Godwin say, I can't live there. Well, he must have exquisite taste. Because I've gone to the residence a few times. I've gone to assist Dr. Gonzalez to do live streams. I've gone upstairs. But clearly, that is not adequate. Apparently, Friday wants something like what Mr. What do you man name in St. Kitts, the governor of the central bank? You are a palace, you are a mansion. That ain't good. So he goes and he rents a place for what is reported to be about $15,000 every month. And there are no concrete plans as to how long he's going to be staying in that house. And when he moves into the house, the taxpayers paying for. Now, if he spends a year, that's $180,000, eh? If he spends a year, that's $180,000. But he hasn't said how long he will spend. So I can't assume a waiting. And if the figure of $15,000 is correct, wow. But again, the government didn't say nothing. But people talking. Similarly, since he has come into office, he has refused to use the vehicles that were being used by the Prime Minister. 2 vehicles that were bought sometime in, I think, 2001, 2020, 2021, because I was press secretary at the time when they were bought. Brand new. He has refused to use them. Instead, he rides in a rented vehicle. A rented vehicle that I've checked with one of the high-end rental companies that tells me that that vehicle would run for about $6,000 a month. Right? First question. Are there no other vehicle from any other ministry that could be assigned to Dr. Friday? Foreign Affairs, he had no vehicle. No way he had no vehicle that Dr. Friday could use. So he refuses to use the vehicle, drives in a rental. But what I find even more wasteful is the fact that I was in Kingstown yesterday morning. Was it yesterday morning? And I saw the caravan moving. I saw the 2 vehicles of the former Prime Minister. I saw a third one, which is the one that was being used by Mrs. Gonzalez. And there was the RAV4. So Dr. Friday moves in a caravan of 4 vehicles. Dr. Gonzalez did two Prado. He in one, the security in the other one. I saw a caravan of 4 vehicles moving yesterday. 3 of which are owned by the government that Dr. Friday refuses to ride in, and also refuses to seek the use of a vehicle from another ministry, and instead pays approximately $6,000 a month for a rented car. Again, with no clear idea of when that is going to change. Somebody say he's conning PM Gonzalez. You may be right, but I have a different idea. I am wondering, Dr. Friday, and maybe you need to come to the front because you're the Prime Minister and you should be in the front. And I'm wondering, Dr. Friday, could it be, Dr. Friday, I'm asking a question, that the rental of the property and the rental of the vehicle is a way of paying back people who made contributions to your campaign and to your party? Is that what we're saying, Dr. Friday? So you stay in this man's house for a year and make sure you get $180,000 because, boy, during the campaign, he may have given you $50,000, $100,000, so you're paying him back? Is that what is happening, Dr. Friday? Is that what is happening with the rental car? Finding a way of giving a man money for campaign contributions or whatever assistance he gave. One of the things, and I had the clip, I didn't load it. One of the things that I heard the Prime Minister in audition say on Boom, they raised the name of Bort Francois, and he said Bort will be well taken care of because he has contributed to the party. And Stephen Joachim said, another one who should be taken care of as well too, treated well, Dougie the Freitas. And Stephen even went as far as saying put Dougie as the chairman of Vinlec. So clearly, apparently that was wrong. No Labour Party supporter supposed to get nothing, but under the NDP, they're shameless about it. Make sure you take care about it now. No, I mean, that's like, as the Americans say, saying the quiet part out loud, even if you feel that way. Like, really? So, in the same way, the Prime Minister in audition went on Boom and tell the nation that Bort Francois will be taken very good care of because he has contributed immensely to the success of the NDP. And he agreed with Stephen Joachim that Dougie the Freitas should be taken care of because he also has contributed significantly. And if it was for Dougie the Freitas, there probably wouldn't be an NDP government. Is this, Dr. Friday, the renting of the car, even though you have 3 you could use, fairly new vehicles, and the renting of the house for close to $200,000 a year, even though you have a proper house up there and cottage you could live into, is this your way, Dr. Friday, of taking care of people who contributed to the NDP? Come to the front, come. Come. Answer me. But we hear nothing because the government is absent. Comrades, the time ran fast, really, really fast. And we come to the end of the program. I know we could ventilate on these things much, much more, but I give you tidbits for you to think about. And we could always talk about them more because if I had to come back here in 6 months and Dr. Friday is still driving a rental car and still living in people's house, when taxpayers have one that he's supposed to go into, we could talk about it again. Comrades, let me thank you so much for logging on. I know you were expecting a program tonight. I hope you enjoyed the program and the explosion that I gave. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for logging on and tuning in to Uplift with Sehon Marshall. If you haven't done so yet, please subscribe and like. so you'll get the notification. Now, you may not have a YouTube account, so you can subscribe and like. So I ain't going to force you to do that. But those of you who do have YouTube account, just hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and make sure you get the notifications when I'm on. Let me thank you so much for tuning in tonight for another edition of Uplift with Sehon Marshall. I really, really enjoyed this program and having you for company. Until next Thursday, God's willing, when I'm back with you again with another program, we thank my director for being so efficient with them clips and so on tonight. Always is, by the way. And that my director and everybody else who contribute. Thank you for making the program what it is, and I wish you a good night. God bless.